This video is sponsored by Adobe. Hi YouTube, it's been a while that I've made a video. I'm wearing a bandana to cover a scar because unfortunately I've had an accident. No worries, it isn't that big, I'm just wearing it to cover it for you. I will show it, but no worries, it's just small. So probably you can only see it on big screens. It's right here, right above my left eyebrow. The scar is so small because it's glued in the hospital. I didn't even know that was possible, but that is an alternative of stitches. What is way worse than the scar is that I had, and that I still have in fact, a brain concussion. The only symptoms that are left now after 2.5 months are just a slight pressure feeling on my brain and some concentration problems, but I can already talk for 20 minutes or something. The only thing that I have difficulties with is solving puzzles and stuff like that. So okay, everything is getting better and better. I'm getting rid of every symptom. With most people, concentration problems is the last stage of a concussion, which can also still last some weeks, unfortunately, especially if it took so long to heal. Okay, luckily I will recover completely. It will just take some time. The time span that I can think in is getting longer and longer. It's getting every day a little bit better right now. So in the end, in a week or two, I think I will get probably fully recovered. Okay, maybe I need to tell you guys and girls what happened. It's already been a while for me as well, because the accident that I had is 2.5 months ago. It's something very stupid that could have been avoided, but it's probably with almost all accidents like that. Okay, so the 14th of June, I was in Munich because the openings match of the Euros was there. It was Germany against Scotland, and I was walking in the center around 6 p.m. And I had a feeling, if you dropped me there, I had a feeling that I was in Scotland instead of Germany, because it was filled with Scottish fans. Luckily, I wasn't planning to go and watch the match. Or maybe unlucky, because if I was planning to go and watch the match, then I was somewhere else. But it is what it is. So this here is the place where the accident happened. This is the center of Munich. This is the street. It's a cross point. Here's a street on the left, here's a street, here's a street on the right, and on the back there's a street as well. You need to notice that it was really full of people. It was the opening ceremony and the openings match, so a lot of people from Europe were going to watch that. So at this place, I met an Indian tourist named Kunal. So imagine that this is me. I was standing here, so I have a paint drawing. I was standing here. And me and Kunal decided to juggle this soccer ball here towards each other in the very busiest street of Munich, which didn't turn out to be a good idea. I will explain you why. Okay, so we were juggling the soccer ball here. At this point, it was full of people. They were coming from everywhere. So I'm going to draw it here. So this is me. I was standing here, we were juggling towards each other. So this is Tim. And then here, we were standing a few meters away from each other, and Kunal was a little bit taller than me. Most Indian guys are not so tall, but he was taller than me. So, a little bit taller. This here is Kunal. What a masterpiece. Okay, I will draw his name as well. Okay, so this is Kunal from India. And at a certain point, I was juggling the ball here, and I wanted to pose it like this towards Kunal in a bow, in a curve. That's maybe a better word. So I kicked the ball with my head, and the ball flew a little bit like this. This was the direction, like this. and then it went a little bit this way. So it was going towards the middle, but a little bit closer towards me. So I misplaced the soccer ball. Okay, so because I misplaced it and it was closer to me, I was looking upwards to the ball, and Kunal was looking upwards towards the ball, so we didn't see each other. And the ball was continuing like this. So I looked at Kunal to see if he was going for the ball, because it was closer to me. And in first instance, he didn't come, so I decided to go towards the ball while looking towards the ball, like that. And then eventually, at the same moment, Kunal decided to come as well, also still looking at the ball, so to the sky. So we didn't see each other. You already know what happened. Okay, so eventually Kunal was standing here at this point. This is where Kunal was standing. And I was still looking upwards. And then eventually, this is where I was standing. And we are still looking towards the ball. And Kunal was already a little bit freezed because, in fact, he was a little bit more under the ball than me. So, while watching still in the sky towards this point here, we both decided to go with our heads to the ball, but we collapsed head to head. So I thought that I had kicked the ball with my head as a pass towards Kunal here. So eventually I looked that direction. Oh man, it's such an unclear drawing, but my explanation is clear, I think. So I watched towards Kunal to see if the ball was going towards him. Because I thought, like, how can the ball be this hard? And the thing that I didn't know is that I kicked Kunal's nose off his head. I mean, he broke his nose, so he was going a little bit backwards again, like this, and yeah, he grabbed towards his nose. I didn't really understand what happened in first instance, but after a while I noticed that he broke his nose. And I had a weird feeling in my brain. Yeah, I was a little bit confused. I could think really difficult. I asked Tunal if he was okay, and then he replied, "No, of course no." And then I was a little bit in shock. I thought maybe he is in life danger, but the fact that he could answer already made me a little bit more at ease. And then, yeah, of course, he was bleeding out of his nose. And then 5 seconds after that, I started to notice that I was bleeding as well. So I was a little bit in shock as well because I couldn't see myself, so I didn't know how bad I was. And we had 2 friends with us as well, by the way. I forgot to say that because they were watching the incident. They were talking to each other. Yeah, they were talking to each other. And of course, they were watching to what happened. And they were a little bit in shock. Yeah. Okay, so I was searching something in my bag that was here to stop our bleeding. And while I was searching something in my bag, then I watched after me, and there were coming 2 cops towards me to help us. And they asked, of course, what happened. What happened? Yeah, because they didn't see it themselves. And I did my best to explain what happened, because at that moment, Kunal was way worse than me because his nose was kicked off. He had an open nose fracture, by the way. I was a little bit in shock that I did that, because it wasn't on purpose, of course. Everyone can testify that as well, that it wasn't on purpose. Okay, so the cops called the ambulance eventually for us both, because we were bleeding. And then the ambulance came, and that ambulance drove us away to the hospital. So yeah, it went that way here. Okay, so like that. Here in the street, we went with the ambulance. And then in the clinic, luckily they could fix Kunal's nose, but what they didn't know at that moment was that I had a brain concussion. They didn't want to scan my brain in the hospital because that gives a little bit radiation. It's a safe radiation, but if you do that a lot, it can be dangerous. So they didn't want to get me scanned. And the main reason for that was because I wasn't dizzy, and dizziness is one of the first symptoms of a brain concussion. Okay, Kunal was okay, so no worries about him. He's already alive, kicking, doing things meanwhile, so he's okay. And about me, I only have concentration concentration problems and pressure, which will heal. So we are both okay. In future, when I do things like that, I will be more carefully. And also for you guys, when you don't know each other, just be careful. Also, when you know each other, always be careful. That's the biggest advice that I can give. Okay, so I wasn't dizzy, but the next day I was okay the whole day. I had a little bit of a headache, but that was everything. My reaction time was a little bit slower, but I thought that was okay. But then in the evening, I entered a dark restaurant, Dark KFC, and there was like a screen, you know, they have like menus that give light on screens, and you can select your menu there. And when I saw that light, I started to have the feeling that I was going to faint. I was losing it a little bit. Everything was getting a little bit black. But I couldn't link that to the screen at that moment. But the first few weeks of a brain concussion, it's a little bit a thing that changes in light are very heavy for your brain, and that gives you a little bit the feeling that you are fainting or going to faint. It felt a little bit on the edge for me of fainting. But yeah, of course, that was the moment that I realized that there was something wrong with me. And then some other symptoms came as well, but yeah, it is what it is. All the typical symptoms of a brain concussion. I'm glad that I can already talk to you after 2.5 months. I'm really glad. So that was the story. Okay, so of course I've lost 2.5 months of possible income. I'm not going to ask you guys for money. I was working on getting some sponsor deals so everything can stay for free for you on my channel. So yeah, that's the way that things go with me. I really want to offer something for free, and I'm glad that that's possible with sponsorships. So okay, you guys didn't notice, but I needed to take a talking break of 15 minutes because when I talk long, then the pressure transforms a little bit into pain. But now it's okay again. I'm glad that it works this way. I just need to build up everything a little bit, and yeah, the time spans wherein I'm working need to be always longer and longer. So I will be okay in the end. Okay, so now let's go over to the second part of the video, because right before the accident, I was busy creating a course, namely a color grading course, and I wanted to go into detail with every color grading function, yeah. The course will be for those who work in DaVinci Resolve, because I consider it the best software for color grading. I'm still working on that, but of course, it will take some time. I need to take everything still at ease. I was also busy trying to get some sponsor deals to be able to make that course free. That course will be for free 100%. Even if I would make zero profit on it, I would still make it for free because I want to share everything that I know together with you. But yeah, of course, it really helps to get some sponsor deals, and I already have some sponsor deals. I managed to fix some deals. So one of the sponsors of that color grading course will be Adobe. Yeah, it sounds pretty ironically because DaVinci is like a concurrent of Adobe. But me, for an example, I edit all my videos in DaVinci Resolve, but I still rely on Adobe for some things, for a lot of things in fact, because Adobe has Photoshop, Adobe has After Effects, Adobe has InDesign, Illustrator. They are more all-around than DaVinci Resolve, because DaVinci Resolve only focuses on, or mainly focuses on video editing. And I think DaVinci Resolve is right now as well the best for video editing, but Adobe is the best for all-around. Also, most video companies, also the companies and freelancers that edit with DaVinci Resolve, most of them, they use Adobe as well for a lot of tasks. So it's really useful to have both DaVinci Resolve and Adobe, especially if you're an all-around designer. Yeah, if you just do some basic video editing, then you probably won't need Adobe, but I even use InDesign as an example for basic daily tasks like putting PDFs together and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, maybe I need to tell you guys what the sponsorship deal includes. There is a link in my bio, and that goes to Adobe. So if you go to Adobe through that link and you buy a product, then I will get a small percentage of that sale. So for you, it will be the same price as usual, whatever you buy. The only difference is that a small part of the money goes towards me then, if you purchase something through the link in my bio. So yeah, you don't need to purchase an Adobe product, especially for me. You can just do that if you need to buy an Adobe product. And most of my subscribers are designers, so you can really fund me and the course that way. It's an official partner deal with Adobe. And that was a lot of information for now. It had been a while, of course. In some months, a lot can happen. I could do all the talking even in one day, so there's a lot of progress. So yeah, the course will work this way. For every topic or for every function, I will make one video and I will go as much in detail as I can. The first video will go about lock and LUTs. Yeah, for those who don't know what that is, I will explain that in detail in the next video. So that's the plan for this channel. The color grading course will probably take me a year to make because there are a lot of functions and topics about color grading, and if I want to talk about everything, then it will take me some time. So, but yeah, of course, the first video probably won't be a year before it's there. But I'm working at it. I need to listen to my body. Whenever it's getting too much, I need to take a little break, and like that it will work. So I'm glad that I made it out alive, alive and kicking. Also maybe another thing, let me know in the comments if the scar here, if it disturbs you or not, because yeah, I don't think it's really disturbing. Yeah, if it disturbs some of you, I will wear a bandana for you or something else to cover it. It doesn't really matter. It will also fade away with time, of course. So I will see you in the next video, and I'm looking forward to that. So if you don't want to miss the course, make sure to subscribe, of course, if you aren't already subscribed. And don't forget to check out the description of this video. See you. Thank you for watching.